What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Team Fish Knuckles YouTube channel. Today we start a new a new series where we do a thing about the city preparation, help you, I guess, every weekend, get ready for cities. And this is week one, and we'll always have Andrew Wamball, which is you see on your left, and we'll have a guest person to join us every week as well. And it says it's William, but it's not William, and you've seen it before. But what's your name again?
Bradley Curcio.
Alrighty. And Wamball, just give us a little bit about yourself, because I think we've only had you in one video, and that was like last year, or like almost last year.
Yeah, I play out of St. Louis, and I run the website, thecharizardlounge.com. So go there, lots of good articles. And that's where all the city results will be. There'll be a link down at the bottom, so go check that out. And they'll take you right to the results page.
There you go. Look at Wamball. He's perfect. But I also have the link from last year, so you can see what exactly we're talking about. Wamball last year, he really did go out of the way and got results from almost every city, what deck won, the percentages, and everything like that. And even did it by states too, so you can just see what's in your state exactly, and not just what's all over the country. But I guess let's start off. The first thing is what decks do y'all expect for week one of cities? It's the very start. Breakthrough has just came out, and nobody really knows a meta. What do you expect for week one?
Random, consistent decks. Things that people already know is good. Toad Giratina, Mega Manectric, Vespa Queen, Night March. Just your basic decks. No big surprises yet. Or people might actually be ready for it with their big surprises and beat everybody, but then people get used to it as the weeks go on.
So I think in Expanded, you'll pretty much see the same metagame that we had for fall regionals. As far as I can tell, nothing from Breakthrough really changes much in the Expanded metagame. As for Standard, I think we'll see a lot of Mega Manectric is super consistent, and then the Battle Compressor decks like Night March and Vespa Quinn. And then Seismitoad will be there because people can't stop playing it.
Literally.
And then I think Tyrantrum will see a decent bit of play week one as well.
Okay, all right. Now, speaking of week one, and you talked about Seismitoad. You talked about the Tyrantrum and Giratina. One new card that came out was the Jirachi promo blister. How big of an impact do you think that'll make overall? Do you think this stop people from playing the Giratina Seismitoad decks, or do you think they'll still play it?
In Expanded, I don't think it has as much of a impact, because if you're playing against a Seismitoad deck, then they're just going to Hypnotoxic Laser you, and then if they have Verbank out, it's going to come back into their turn as a knockout on the Jirachi. In Standard, though, when they don't have that non-attack damage possibility, I think it'll be able to disrupt Seismitoad decks a lot more. But at the same time, a lot of the lists I've been building, I haven't been finding room to put in Jirachi. So I think you could show up to cities and only one or two people actually play the Jirachi in their deck. So it might just be a non-issue, even though it would destroy you if you do go up against it.
Yeah, I pretty much agree. It's only insanely good against Seismitoad. Against stuff like Night March or Vespa Queen, it's not nearly as good because they kind of just trade anyways. They expect to die frequently when they're attacking anyways. But against Toad, it's really, really, really big. I don't think it's going to impact it so much that people are going to not play specific decks. But I definitely think a lot of people are going to be playing one or two of in a lot of lists.
I think Giratina too is really big to counter, because they usually only play 3 double dragons and Seismitoad, Giratina. So if you hit them with a Zero Sick and then hit them with Jirachi right afterwards, their Giratina is going to be a non-factor pretty much for the rest of the game.
I think another thing important to note too is if you're in the small cities and you see one really good person with a Jirachi in the deck and you're contemplating playing a Giratina deck, that probably means you're not going to win that cities just because if it's small. If it's a 10 to 20 person cities and you know that somebody's playing Jirachi and your main deck is focused around special energies, I wouldn't advise really playing that because they're probably just going to stomp you in Standard. But Whamball said and expanded, you have like laser and other stuff to actually like counter that. So
Yeah, that's like me and Houston. I pretty much just play whatever beats Max and hope I beat everybody else. Worked out pretty decently last year.
yeah, well, there you go.
I beat Max.
Alright. So another card for breakthrough that somebody wants to know is how good is Octillery? You know, lets you draw. You have 5 cards in your hand. I guess mainly for standard. I can't really see it for expanded at all. But do you think Octillery be used at all in standard?
I think it's really good. I think a 1/1 in a lot of decks is just adds consistency. Like there's almost no reason to play it if you can find the room for it.
My biggest issue with it is that Shaman EX is in the format right now. So Shaman's just so much simpler to use and doesn't require searching out. So, and that takes up a lot of space, and you still want Shaman in your deck just for that Ultra Ball out to start a game if you don't have a supporter. But at the same time, like, it's a really good card, so it should find its way into decks at some point. Like, for Spring Regionals in my Gengar deck, I played a 1/1 Electrode, and I was just sitting there all day, just getting that card advantage and being able to end people, and then getting end to like 1 and not having to worry about what happens after that. And Octillery's even better than Electrode is, so I think it'll find its way into some decks at some point.
Yeah, especially with Judge in the format too, since you can just judge people or get judged and not really care.
Yeah, kind of the same thing what Wemball said. Spring Regionals 2 years ago, when I played VG, I played an Electrode and a Roserade in the deck, and Electrode was just so good.
Yeah.
So, yeah. What are you laughing at, Brad?
That list was sick.
Oh, yeah. Like the 1/1 Electrode and the 1/1 Roserade?
It was good.
All you need. Alright. So, what EX can shine with Smeargle and Bronzong?
The new Ho-Oh. Let's go.
It's not even legal yet!
Well, when it is, I'm winning something with it.
Alright, what about the cities?
No, you're not.
That's like the worst Verbank thread I've seen recently. Everyone was just piling up on how bad the Ho-Oh is. And when I saw it, I was like, okay, this thing's kind of like Darkrai, only it hits a better damage number. Like, I don't think the
Bad.
I don't think the ability is going to be too useful because you already need 3 other types, but hitting 150 with Muscle Band and then 30 on the bench, that's really good. And we're going to have that item thing coming out that lets you accelerate to it, and then Smeargle can clean up. As far as right now, I really like Machamp EX with it. I think Machamp's really strong. You can one-hit KO stuff with Ariados, and then just both attacks on Machamp are really good. With Focus Sash, you're going to be able to prevent one-hit KOs on you, and then anything that can't one-hit KO a Machamp EX is going to have problems, like Mega Manectric and Mega Sceptile. If they hit it for like 100, 110, you're going to be able to Steaming Mad back on them for like 220, and just one-hit KO them back. And I think that the only really good way to play Machamp right now is with that Bronzong Smeargle combination. If you don't have the energy acceleration, it's way too slow to actually get set up. But then you have the biggest issue with the deck is you have to fit in the Ariados line and the Bronzong. So you take this powerful concept, and once you're set up, you're usually going to just run over everything, but you do leave it up to a little bit of fate, where you just have to hope everything gets set up for you.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Like, a lot of the mediocre EXs are still just mediocre EXs, even if you can attack with them. And the fact that you have to play Bronzong and Smeargle, get a bunch of energy in the discard, switch them around and everything, it just adds a whole another layer of inconsistency, and you're still just playing a mediocre EX. So something like Machamp that's actually really good, if you can set it up, could potentially be played, but you still have to play everything else in order to get it set up. So it's like, it's not nearly as worth it when you can just Battle Compressor away 3 Joltics and kill your opponent. So,
And then, this isn't an EX, but one combo I want to see is someone play Bronzong and Smeargle and Night March, and then play Shrine of Memories for the stadium, and play Gourgeist and evolve your Pumpkaboos,
Yeah.
and then flip Grass Energies on Gourgeist and have a 200 HP Gourgeist out there.
Just night marching.
And then they Hex Maniac you, and it gets knocked out, but...
Yeah, like they.
It's so fun to try.
I mean, I like Smeargle, but I don't really like it with EX. Like right now, I've been playing it with Evital, Stunfisk, Regirock. Kind of whatever deck you're playing against, you just use the attacker that kills them. The only deck it really struggles with right now is Vespiquen, and if I figure that out, I'll probably be playing for Cities, because it pretty much beats everything right now when I've been testing it out. So
It beats everything.
Right, it beats
that-
everything that's like being called like for like really high play decks. So
Beat the champ? Don't think so.
you just play what you just.
Nope.
Okay, nope, it doesn't. Nope, it gets Steve mad. Yep, I'll give you that. It does not beat Machamp.
There you go. You have 2 auto losses now.
I was gonna say maybe I can like Oblivion Wing and then Darkness Blade, but that's still not even knockout.
No.
Because he has 180, right, Wamball?
Yeah, he has 180.
Champ's just a G.
And then, this isn't a bad EX, but it works really good in Mega Manectric, because then you can lower your lightning count a little bit, and then if you draw into like a water energy, if you're playing like Articuno and Regice, then you can flip a lightning that you battle compressed off, and that helps the consistency a little bit, and you don't really need to depend on Smeargle, you can just get away with just one slot on it.
Yeah, I agree.
Alright. So the next question is okay. We already talked about Jirachi. Is Night March good with only 2 Shaymins?
I mean, it's still Night March if you draw the Shamans, sure, but it's just strictly better with 4. At least 3.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Night March is still playable with 2. Like, I played 2 at Worlds, and then I had a Jirachi as well, so it was almost like
Yeah.
3. But 2 works, but the after Worlds, I changed over to 4 after seeing, like, Merlin play 4 and the other European guy play 3 in it. And I think with 2 you can do fine, but you're going to be a lot less consistent, so you might show up to one cities and do really bad, and then another one you run a little bit better and set up better and do fine, while the person with 4 Shaman isn't going to have that inconsistency between tournaments.
Yep. Exactly.
One thing I've been doing right now with Night March is I'm actually trying to decide between 2 and 3. My Night March deck is playing like Super Scoop Ups and Roller Skates, and
Roller Skates is good.
it's really, really item heavy. Me and Wemba were talking about this before, but if you played anything that trainer locks you, you're just going to auto lose. Like it plays 1 Sycamore right now. I might bump it up to 2. And it's like 2 Shaman, and like it's probably really bad, but I'm having a lot of fun with it. So
Yeah, that's what Max and I were playing. We played it with like 4 Shaman, 1 Sycamore, a bunch of items, and then like a bunch of Hex Maniacs, and just pray that you can Hex Maniacs and Vileplume.
no, see, but I'm trying to play 2 Shamans
Nah, man, you gotta play.
with like 4 Super Scoop Ups and 4.
Just drop the Super Scoop Ups and play more Shamans.
Nah, that's bad. Because then you can't reuse my Lodix.
Okay. And you can't heal your Joltix either, I guess.
Yeah, see? You know what's going on.
That's true.
Alright, so what is your expected sleeper deck for cities? I don't know if you want to give away a sleeper deck, but
I don't know, honestly. I think as of right now, I honestly don't have anything that I've really been testing that's not standard. Well, not like basic.
yeah, like we'll expect to see.
Yeah, so, I really don't have anything. Maybe random Vileplume stuff, but I don't think there's anything else that's unexpected that's going to be that good right now.
Yeah. I think with Dodrio coming out, there's going to be a good opportunity for someone to figure out something with Vileplume. As I don't know about Standard yet, because we don't really know what a metagame's going to look like for it yet. But as far as Expanded goes, I think Excelgor has a lot of potential to take down some cities. You just have to figure out how you're going to deal with the Keldeo EX's index. and then a lot of stuff doesn't do well against trainer lock. And then if you're paralyzing them as well, they won't really have a out to it. But the issue I've been having with it, so I think Vileplume is going to be the way to go with it in the long term. Because if you play Trevenant, they can just Lysander around it and knock out whatever whatever is going to pose the biggest threat, whether it's a Excelgor or a Dusknoir on the bench. But if you have Vileplume, you take out that option, and then if they Hex Maniac you, you know they're not going to be hitting one of your important bench sitters. They're going to be hitting whatever you put up. But as a issue, so you can play it like old school Vileplume, where you just really go slow, or with more speedy, like Trainer's Mail and unknown versions of setting up Vileplume with Forest of Giant Plants. That one sets up fast, and you can get a fast lock, but then you run into issues where you're going to be discarding parts of like your Dusknoir line. But I think if someone can figure out how to fit it all together, Excelgor can just really dominate.
I can see it.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I've kind of been playing for a sleeper is that Evital deck. But I don't know. I think I like Evital Crobat as well. It's because knock out the Night Marchers and he helps out with Vespiquen. You just have a really bad Mega Man matchup in that version. So
And that's not a really good bad matchup you want to take.
exactly. So the next question, I'm trying to figure out how to word it. It says, will the meta change to counter the best deck like last year's Donphan to Evital? Because you know, huh?
Always.
Yeah.
If you win the first cities, don't play your deck for the second one. Generally speaking. That's what I did last year. I played like 8 different decks at 8 different cities.
Yeah, it just circles around, and so Donphan wins, and Evital wins, and Mega Manectric gets good, and then Fighting got really good after that again, and then like Evital and Toad were really good again at the end.
And also, it doesn't necessarily matter exactly what wins, I guess. It's what everybody was playing. Because then you just, like, you stay one step ahead of the curve and you'll always be better. So if everybody was playing Evital, then next week everybody's going to play Manectric, so you just play Quad Stumpfisk and beat everybody. But like, you try and stay one step ahead of the curve, which in Houston is
Easy.
not easy. Because in Houston, people just play whatever 60 cards they found in their binder.
Or Dark.
Or Darkrai. So...
Just do that.
And like I said earlier too, with Wamball's stuff, he'll have like the state by state list. Like you might see like overall like Evital might be played everywhere, but in the one state you're at, it could be like really heavy Manectric, and if you don't pay attention to that stuff, you can easily just get dominated by that.
Always, yeah.
And then cities are a little bit different too, because you don't need like a top tier deck necessarily to win the event. Like I played Florges for the cities and got third, and like I don't think anyone would say Florges was a very good deck overall in that format, but just where our meta started to land, it became good for our meta.
Yeah. Because the cities I won, I played like Flareon and Night March, which are good, but at the time they were like not that good. But then it was also when they were new and people didn't really know how to play against them. So it's just like little things like that that help in smaller tournaments too. And because you're not playing at a regionals where you have to win every game but one to make cut. At cities, it's much smaller, and you don't really have as much pressure to have to win every single game.
Yeah.
And then,
You can, like, your 1 or 2 like horrible matchups, play one and lose, and then beat everything else and be fine. Just avoid it and cut, obviously.
and then teching can be a lot more important during cities too, just because you have a smaller field, and after a few cities you might know what different people are playing. Like
Yeah.
I played Charizard EX and Seismitoad Garbodor last year, and it let me beat Parisian Genesect and beat Bronzong really easily, as well as Squeaky's deck.
Right, that's because you were
What's the-
dirty. That was dirty. That's a different story.
Squeaky, come to Houston.
I'll come to Houston. Yeah, I just like randomly showed up at Springfield one day. It's like a 6-hour drive, and I just drove there. I was like, let's go to Springfield this weekend.
I literally did that before. You can ask Britt. I texted him. I was like, hey, do you want to get dinner tonight? And this was at like 8 o'clock in the morning. He's like, yeah, sure. And I drove from Houston, knocked on his door, and he's like, I didn't know if I should have expected you or not, but I just showed up. 14-hour drive to have dinner. It was a pretty good dinner, honestly.
I mean, kind of like what you said. Oh, you're all saying about like it doesn't really matter what deck you're playing because you can play a really bad deck. Like last year, Virizion Genesect was supposedly really, really bad at like cities, and I still won one and got second at another one just because I love Virizion Genesect, and I
Yep.
just like made it really tacky to beat whatever I was playing against.
That's all you got to do.
So if there's expanded cities, which so far all of mine are standard, I will
Yeah, all of my standard.
I'll find a way to beat Vesta Queen and beat Night March. I promise I'll do it with with VG.
You just got to play Mew and Dimensional Valley, man.
No, bro, we're gonna find out something. I was playing a Plasma Badge at Nationals, and I was beating the Night Marchers.
Yeah, that's pretty silly, honestly.
All right, so let's see. There are a lot of decks in Standard, and without much of a meta defined right now, what should I focus on testing against?
Honestly, yeah, Night March, Vesper Queen, Toad, and Mega Manetric are probably going to be the 4 most played decks.
And then I'd add Tyrantrum to that, and maybe other like Bronzong, Aegislash, Lugia type stuff.
I mean, you even want to test against like Vileplume and stuff, because if you just get destroyed by item lock, you probably should try and figure something out for that. If you lose to a turn, I mean, some decks just lose to a turn 1 Vileplume, but I don't know. There's a lot to test against.
Lucario Bats will probably be good to test against too.
Probably.
That's one of the most popular decks online right now.
Just test against random decks. Like we've been saying, the meta's like open the air. You can go to one cities and play against like all Gengar decks. Like
Especially the first few weeks, there is no meta, really. That's when the meta will kind of establish itself.
And then one of the nice things I did last year, I just sit on PTCGO all week, and then I'd look at the city results, and I'd see what certain people were playing, and then I'd hit them on PTCGO, and I'd be like, okay, this person's good, they're testing this deck, and then I'd know if I was going to be at a city with them, to build against them, or if it was like someone in Chicago, I'd be like, oh, that's a good idea, I'm going to copy that, and build it for myself, and start testing it.
Yeah.
okay. So the next question is opinion on Gengar Trevenant for Standard.
I'm sure it's decent, but I mean, I think it's similar to Vileplume. You get the turn 1 lock, you're in a decent position. It might be better. I don't really know how good Gengar is, but I've never played it or really played against it, in all honesty. So I don't have that big of an opinion on it.
I liked it in theory when Breakthrough first came out, but then I played some games and I had some noticeable problems. Mega Manectric just knocks out Trevenant or Wobbuffet and then recharges other attackers, so you can't really beat Mega Manectric. And then Tyrantrum's surprisingly good against it if they don't do dead draw, because they'll just Lysander up your Gengar, and then if you had Trevenant active, then they can start playing Flowstones and switches and stuff. And if you had like Wobbuffet active, then they can start Metal Links to their Tyrantrum, and they just knock out all your Gengars, and you don't have anything left to attack with. And they just kind of push you over once you have nothing left.
Yeah. I was to say, and like it comes down to what your area is too. If you know that everybody's playing like Vesta Queen and Night March, then of course it's like a great deck. But like Wamball said, if everybody's playing like Manectric, it's probably really bad because they're gonna one shot your attackers over and over again. So it's definitely area depending. So, and
Especially
then
if you're really, really small cities, it's really good to play little decks like that because you know what half the field is going to be. You just hit it and win.
exactly. But what's your favorite break card right now?
I like Zoroark. I think it's interesting. Raichu's really good too, though.
I don't really have a favorite. I think they're all pretty bad.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know why they even made the mechanic like that. Like, if you could evolve into them the same turn, might be okay. But you're essentially playing like a stage 2 with foul play, and no one really plays the stage 1 with foul play. And then if it's like a Florgus break, then you're playing like a stage 3, and like you're right, can't play stage 2, so they're just bad. But as far as the attacks, I like foul play. Like you can copy some pretty good stuff, but I don't think it's ever gonna be worth it to try to set one up.
Yeah, the only reason I like it is because some decks are just going to play Zorak anyways, so it's not horrible. It's not the worst card you can put in your deck. Same with Raichu. You're going to be playing Raichu anyways. It's not the worst card to put in your deck, but it's not necessarily good either. None of them are.
Yeah, I mean, going off what Brad said, like, when I'm playing Zorak deck, like just main Zorak, I'm not really focused on the Zorak break. I'm more focused on like the regular Zorak, and if I can use foul play, then I'm going to use it. But most of the time, I'm just using whatever that tech's called, Mind Jack. So.
But that takes a dark energy, right?
Yeah, and the other one takes a DC. Yeah.
So you have to play in like Evital type stuff. You can't just use a Zoroark break in like your Tyrantrum deck when you're playing
true.
Zoroark in there.
Yeah, I was talking about more focus on like just a Zorak. Like I've been testing a lot of just like Evital Zorak just by itself, just because it's a non-EX like attack deck is really good, and it's okay. I like it a lot. So.
Throw some bats in there.
I think it's pretty good. Like Evital EX still hits for a ton of damage, and decks are a little bit inconsistent in standard, so sometimes just having that big hitter at just Y-cycloning little guys or evil balling EXs, sometimes if you just stumble in your setup, that's enough just to win games.
It is.
Alright, so the next question is, if you had to predict one deck to win this weekend, what would it be?
Mega Manetric.
Oh, Tyrantrum Bronzong.
I'll go with Nightwatch Milotic.
I mean, I guess it also kind of depends on what I do decide to play, but...
How many cities are there actually this weekend? I know Indianapolis has a mini marathon.
I have no idea. I am not sure at all.
I think it's just a few areas.
Yeah, there's none near me. So. Okay, we already did about most potential. How do you feel with Mega Manetric? Alright, next question is, will Pikachu EX Raikou Magnezone be a good deck for Standard, and can it hang with the top tier decks in Expanded?
Yes, no. I think it's actually not that bad in Standard. It's probably just not quick enough to do anything in Expanded.
I'd say no and no. I tried building it, and I just couldn't get set up consistently. That's always going to be the issue with Stage 2 decks. Like, there's a reason people stop playing Emboar and Blastoise.
Extended.
I mean, I'd also have to say no and no. I mean, especially with Pikachu EX, it has 130 HP. It's going to get, like, one-shotted over and over again. And there's no real, like, good way besides Fisherman to get back energies from your discard pile. And it can easily be countered with just, like, Hex Maniac. It's might just, like, everybody plays, like, one Hex Maniac nowadays. So if they just, like, knock out your Pikachu EX and just Hex Maniac you, which we saw against Blastoise and Expanded, you're just going to lose and you can't really do anything.
Trust me, people prize their Hex Maniac a lot.
And it's 1 out of 60 cards.
Trust me.
The other thing, though, is if you're taking knockouts on them, they can't always just Hex Maniac you. A lot of times they'll have to play like a Sycamore just to draw energy so they can keep attacking. If you can keep pressure up, then you can possibly avoid the Hex Maniac problem. But at the same time, the decks that abuse Hex Maniac are going to set up right away, and they're going to be able to start Hex Maniacing you on turn 1 and 2, and then you won't even be able to accelerate energy, and then you'll just be too far behind once you do get stuff set up.
Yeah, and the fact that you can't really do anything turn 1 is kind of scary. But
Not be able to do anything to, like, turn 3 if you don't hit that Red Candy Magnezone.
you hit it.
Alright, so you talked about Mega Manetric some, but what's your favorite partner with Mega Manetric?
Pikachu!
You're playing Mega Manetric Pikachu EX?
You saw what I was playing on Facebook? Pyro Dog.
Oh.
Yeah, I think Pyro's decent. I don't know. You can kind of just pair anything you want with Mega Manetric and it's still Mega Manetric.
I think Articuno is probably my favorite still. just because you can take 2 prizes on Night March and Vespiquen decks.
Yeah. Articuno probably is the best because it's the only thing that really helps your really bad matchups.
I like the there's that Mega Manectric Crobat Hoopa deck that's just focused on consistently setting up, and it played Psychic Energy to set up Hoopa, and then you'd use Golbat to drop
You
some
can
damage
fly
on
it.
Shaman and then just snipe Shamans on the bench. So I thought that was a kind of neat idea.
And if it lets you play Latios, I like it.
I had a league challenge this weekend, and I played Toad Garatino with the Latios CX. First 2 rounds, donked people, donked a Vespiquen, and a Bronzong deck. Is so good.
It honestly is really good.
I'd say it depends on like your area too. If you
Yeah.
know, like a lot of people play Mega Manectric, I would actually go with like Mega Manectric Gallade or Mega Manectric Regirock, depending. And then I actually still like Mega Manectric Regice.
Yeah. Yeah, you can just play Mega Manectric and then anything that beats whatever else is at your city. So
Yeah, exactly.
that's what makes it so good.
They can just have a thing for like resistance stuff since I love Hippowdon, so whatever.
I mean, Hippowdon wasn't good though, right?
Or whatever, man. Yeah, it was.
I played 2 Leafeon. I ain't scared.
I ain't scared either. We got this.
We got this.
Dude, Hippowdon beat Jacob Van Wagner. That's all you have to know, kids.
That's all you gotta know.
Yeah. We beat the world champ. It's obviously a good deck.
I mean, yeah.
Come
It can go 1 and 5.
Alright, Brad. How do you pronounce your name?
Bradley,
How about your last name?
don't worry about it.
Okay, fine.
I don't want to tell for though.
on.
I guess we can answer that question. The next question is, do you think Lucario is still good?
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Lucario
good.
Bats is still really good. It's the same as Landy Bats was. It's just a little bit slower, but when the format's infinitely slower than it is and expanded, it's still really good.
It's really good too because people are playing those like Night March, and then you can easily take fast knockouts on them, and then deny knockouts with Focus Sash.
Yeah, it's really good. And conveniently, it's extremely good against Mega Manectric.
And then the second attack helps you get set up if you're playing something else with it as well. So you can draw through a lot of stuff. Like if you're playing Crobat, you can be able to draw into your Zubats and Golbats a lot more consistently than maybe other Crobat decks might.
Yep.
My characters feel so
Okay.
fun.
I guess it's just for Brad. Or maybe it's for Wamball too. Will beanies affect the outcome of cities?
Oh, definitely. If you're wearing a beanie and your opponent's wearing some sort of hat or nothing, you just automatically have an advantage over them. Straight up. It's honestly just a fact. I didn't really lose a game until I lost in top 8 because I just lose in top 8. But when I was wearing my beanie, I didn't lose a game. I took my beanie off 1 round, lost it, and then never again.
What do you think, Wamball?
Beanies aren't part of my local metagames. I don't have enough information on how they impact a tournament.
They will be. They will.
Wamball goes to cities and everybody but him is wearing a beanie.
You're gonna be scared if that
Did
happens.
you see that?
Alright, well, I don't know how we can answer the question. The question is, what rogue decks should we expect? But how do you expect a rogue deck if...
That's not a question you can really ask. If it's a rogue deck, you can't expect it. So there you go, buddy.
Yeah. Okay, here's a good question everybody's kind of freaking out about. What's your thought on championship playmats instead of trophies?
Garbage. The mats are kind of cool. Don't get me wrong, but I don't want 4 of them.
Brad, you already have plenty of trophies. You don't need more.
I have so many. Look at all these mats.
You do not need more trophies.
No.
At least you have a new mat now.
We'll get the mats are kind of cool, but just trophies are infinitely cool.
It's
no
not-
matter what.
Hopefully it saves money for something better, though, right?
Exactly. You have that right there. Show me your cool mat that you want. Exactly.
Yeah.
I actually like the playmats a little bit better because my trophies just sit there and like
What are the playmats gonna
I
do?
mean, what you would do with
Yeah.
like your third or fourth playmat though, Wamball? It's just going to sit
sell
there
it
as well.
probably. You
You
can
can't-
put them on.
But you can't sell it. Like everybody
Oh.
gets a play mat for winning.
Not everyone
not-
can win though.
Japanese might want it at Worlds, so that's the thing. Boy,
Yeah.
I work at Geico, and like 6 people at Geico have Pokemon trophies at their desk because that's cool. Because I gave it to them. If I give them a playmat, that's not the same.
They can put their keyboard on top of it or
I
something.
mean, yeah, but it's not a trophy.
It can say champion right underneath their keyboard.
I guess.
I personally don't like it. I like having the trophies, especially when people come over to my house and they see like my regional trophy and then like my city trophies and they're like, "What are these?" And like Pokemon trophies. But and they see some mat that
And then
says
they laugh at
champion.
you.
Huh?
And then they laugh at you.
Nah. Like you can't really show off like a mat to somebody who doesn't really like play
Exactly.
Pokemon. Like if they don't play Pokemon, how do you show somebody like this is my trophy? And they're like,
My mom is already so not proud of me. If I show her these mats I win, it's not gonna help. If I show her a trophy, she's like, "Oh, cool, you've actually done something." But if I show her a match, she's like, "What? Why?" Sorry, mom.
okay. Let's see. We've already kind of been over this, but what's the best deck for a blind meta? I mean, just consistent. I think. I mean, it's pretty much the answer. I think something
Yeah.
you're used to is something consistent.
I'd probably say Mega Manectric for standard. It's just really consistent. Not too much can go wrong. And then for expanded, I'd say Evital. Like you're never gonna really have too many matchups you're out of if you're playing Evital and expanded. And then I guess it depends on your skill level too. Because if you've been playing for a while, I feel like you can get a lot more out of Evital than maybe a new player could.
Yeah.
Kind of off of Wambot's thing too. If you're gonna play Mega Manectric, make sure you play Mega Turbos. Talking to somebody in Brad's room who doesn't play Mega Turbos in their list.
I'm looking at him.
Ooh.
He just said why, and then gave me the same stupid face he always has.
Because how do you beat Night March? They one shot you over and over again.
How do you beat Night March?
Can't kill their shamans.
He said he'll KO their
You
shamans.
can if they just one shot your Manetrix. Like that doesn't work.
He talks so big. He will message you at like 4 o'clock in the morning and is like, "Hey, this deck beats everything in the format." And then you say, "What about this matchup?" And he's like, "You won't run into it." That's his deck building process.
Alright. What kind of question is this? The last question I have on Verbank is, have you ever hit a Quaking Punch for 110 damage?
I
Nope.
mean, twice. I'm not gonna tell you how though.
That's okay. I guess you just play like Muscle Band, double, and
3
Empoleon.
Artic, yeah, 3 Empoleon.
3 or 2?
3 is 60, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh man, I forget that like Quaking Punch like does 30. Yeah, that's such nah. Bro, we're good. I'm not playing that deck. No. Okay. Well, hopefully. Do y'all have anything else to add in for cities for this weekend? I don't know if y'all are either one of y'all going to the cities this weekend.
No, I'm not even gonna go to the first one in Houston. So I'm not gonna have one for like 3 more weeks. Yeah. So I'm not. I've got a little bit of time. I'll get to check out the Charizard Lounge first before I care.
Yeah, I'm not gonna play in any this weekend. It's Thanksgiving weekend, so I'm just gonna eat food and watch football instead.
Go Black Friday shopping.
Exactly.
Yeah. My first one is next weekend, the back-to-back one. So hopefully, get 2 wins and then 2 more wins, and we'll be done with cities. Hopefully, right?
I think my first
Yep.
one is actually in San Antonio,
I don't know where that is to you.
like 2.5 hours away. And that's just because Cantu wants me to go, and I just want to go to make sure he can't win.
What format are your guys' cities in?
Everything in Houston is standard, but San Antonio is expanded for some reason. So, basically, I'm just going to play Eviltal and not care about expanded, and then just test for Houston.
San Antonio's expanded. Yeah.
All of mine is standard. The Tennessee Marathon is all standard, and then the Memphis and the South Haven the next day are all standard.
When is the Tennessee Marathon, and how many cities is it?
It's 5.
When?
26th through the 30th or 31st.
What?
I might want to go to that.
Go ahead. Georgia would be closer to you, and theirs is 8 days long.
Georgia's not closer to me.
What? Really?
Is Georgia close to us?
Yeah, like it's the same.
Georgia's
I don't
close
think
to
so.
us.
I think it's
I
close.
don't think it is. I don't.
What? It's
Georgia, Tennessee,
So what, Memphis or what?
no
Memphis?
Nashville.
Nashville.
Oh. Okay.
I
What
think.
part of Georgia? It depends.
I think Tennessee's closer.
I doubt it. Okay, all right. We'll talk about this here in a second. But do y'all have any final closing thoughts or anything you want to say before we head out?
I'm good.
Just for everyone going to cities, on the Facebook group Burbank City, there's going to be a post in there where you can put your city results in. If you make a top 4 or something and you know what everyone else was playing, you can go in there, put where the city championship took place, put what format it was, list the top 4 finishers, and then what decks they play. And then that'll be a big help in collecting all the results.
Yep.
And if for some reason you don't know what Verbeek is, don't worry about it. Just you can leave those in the comments down below. Just post your top 4 cities if you went to one, or shoot me a message on Facebook or Twitter or Twitch or whatever you want to shoot me a message on. Don't worry about if you don't know what Verbeek is. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Don't want to promote it.
Yeah, don't want to promote. I mean, you can just look up Verbeek on Facebook and you'll see what it is. But I do not advertise it. It is, it's Burbank. Yep. All right, guys.
I will promote. Max and I stop being lazy. We'll start streaming Team BM Gaming or Team Beanie, something like that. But we're still really lazy, so it's going to take a while.
Don't even have a name for it yet.
It's BM Gaming, but we're also just Team Beanie because
Well, if that ever happens, I got you.
I appreciate it.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for doing this. That's the city's preparation. And next week we'll have Wambalt once again, and we'll have a new guest, and we'll let Wambalt pick up. Probably, I picked Brad this week, and I know he was really desperate. He really wanted to do this.
Begging my knees.
Yeah. He even
Literally.
messaged me before I even messaged Wambalt. Like he is a psychic. So.
I knew.
Alright guys, well thank you so much for watching this video. Hopefully it's informative and you learned something new about cities, and good luck this weekend. Hopefully everybody that watches it gets first. Unless there's 2 people watching it, then I don't know. You just have to Rochambeau for it or something. But have a great night, day, afternoon, whatever it is. Have a great day. Alrighty, bye.